Feels like it's been a minute since we've done this. Another episode of Chatting with Natty. Just sent the invite to my guest. New year, 2026. I'm in need of a haircut. I see that. I recognize that. I acknowledge that. It's something we will be doing in the next couple of weeks. What's up, brother? Oh, that was easy. Nice.
What's up, my brother?
How's it going, bro?
Man, I can't call it, bro. Can't call it.
What part of the world are you in?
Man, I'm in Knoxville, Tennessee.
Okay, that's awesome. I've never been to Tennessee.
Yeah, and you in Cali, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. What part?
LA.
Okay. I've been to Palm Springs and San Diego.
My coach is in Palm Springs.
Okay, yeah,
Yeah,
there's some cougars down there, man. They
I haven't gotten to experience that too much, unfortunately.
listen, bro. Different experience. It was cool though. It was different experience out there.
That's good to know. That's good to know.
Yeah, yeah.
Where did you grow up?
So I grew up in Wilson, North Carolina. That's where I was born. But when my mother divorced my biological father, she remarried and then we moved to Fall River, Massachusetts. So that's where it had a significant impact on me just because of, that's where I started school at. And 98% of the people didn't look like me. But I didn't know anything about white and black. You know what I'm saying? They used to say they was mafia. And I'm like, what the fuck is mafia? What is a mafia, right?
Yeah.
So, and then as I got older, I realized they was white. But I saw at that time, I realized we just connected. We all came from poverty and we just had this connection with each other. So it really impacted me now. That's why the name Limitless. I don't believe in social constructs. You know what I mean? So that's why I wanted to throw Fall River, Massachusetts in there, man. I give that place a lot of love.
Absolutely, dude. For one, I love the limitless mindset. That is one that very much resonates with my own ambitions. So it's great to have the opportunity to talk to you because it definitely seems like we're on the same wavelength. I would be really interested in hearing more about your background because I know that you had a book come out and it was basically from gangster to
Yeah. So from thug to scholar,
yes,
and
Thug the Scholar.
and
Yeah,
Odyssey to unmask my true potential. And basically, the gist of the book is basically saying we all wear masks, right? Or you can look at it as we all play characters in this dream world. I like to take a little bit of my philosophies from the shamanism way of seeing things, but we all live in this collective dream world, and we assign these characters based on our childhood. So what I saw growing up in Fall River was if you're intelligent and you're going to school amongst this unique demographic that I love, they don't look at that as cool. So I either had to fight, be cool in sports, get girls, all of these black exploitation and gangster exploitation films. I feel like that's what you got to really the character you got to become in order to survive and thrive. So I wore that mask, but it's no different than I see my daughter. She come from a lot of privilege, and she gotta dress a certain way or have a certain car, or be in the certain university or sorority in order for them to be respected. So I just feel like these social constructs of these environments we come from, it allows us to wear a mask. And for me, man, that masked individual, I lost my virginity at 12. I was suspended in school, out of school, in school detention, you name it, I did it. Got in trouble with the police, sold drugs, crack cocaine, almost shot somebody. So that mask was all about destruction. And I tell people when you live that lie, your whole life becomes a lie. But once you remove that mask, which is the hardest thing for us to do, the transformation, it. I follow your videos, see how hard you work. It's that discipline, man, and that delayed gratification. And when you go through that, then on the other side of that, that's when you become limitless. Because what you realize is all of this stuff was BS. It was never important anyway. The truth was you got to find your unique identity. And once you find it, you got to be courageous enough to walk in it and live it when the whole world tell you, no, go this way. You see what I'm saying? So
yeah.
that's really what it's about. The whole from thug to scholar and the be limitless mindset.
I love that. I love that. And I definitely consider myself an ally to your cause. The one question that pops in my head is, so So you've got the individual, and they've got to learn at some point. Hopefully, it comes by way of a mentor. Maybe it comes from me. Maybe it comes from you. Maybe it comes from someone else. And they get that spark of the current identity that they are subscribed to doesn't fit with who they truly are. And
Mhm.
there is an opportunity to make a pivot and become the limitless version of themselves. And it goes against what their parents had in mind for them. It goes against what their friends had in mind for them. It goes against what their entire society and their conditioning has led them to believe about themselves. And it is scary, and it does take a lot of courage. How do we actually help people make that jump from their current psychological beliefs over to this new perspective of like you can kind of re-identify yourself in however way that you would like to?
That's a tough question. It's a loaded question. I'll say this. So some of the credit is going to come from a book I just recently read called The Courage to Be Disliked. Very,
Oh,
very powerful book. Yeah,
it's at my
very
house.
powerful. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So
Yeah, it's
yeah,
at my
yeah, yeah.
house. Yeah.
So I would say something that really stood out to me is that we all have our own individual task, and our childhood trauma does not dictate who we become. We have to choose to say, all right, this is the person I see myself as. How does my actions, attitudes align with this ideal version of myself? And if it doesn't align, now you got to self reflect and you got to be willing to call yourself out. But let's be honest, we live in a world, we can say politicians, we can say the peoples that should be leading this world, they all like to blame it on somebody else. Well, with bodybuilding, if you don't get that weight, it ain't nobody else, it's you. If you don't cut well enough for that show, that's you. It has nothing to do with anybody else. So to me, I think people got to be willing to call themselves out and say, you know what, man, I'm full of it. When I wasn't the right person I was supposed to be in my marriage, it's me. It ain't had nothing to do with my wife. When I flunked out of college, oh well, the professors I didn't feel like they looked out for me. Why would they need to look out for me if I was doing my part? You see what I'm saying? So I just feel like what really made me become limitless is looking at myself saying, you didn't sell drugs because you came from this environment and all these people sold drugs. Because it's what I did was, well, how many people that never sold drugs from that environment and went on and had a great life? So it's a
Okay.
choice.
I love this. I love this. All right. So you're saying it doesn't matter the circumstances that you come from. What matters is the awareness that who you are today has nothing to do with the person that you were yesterday or in the past.
Facts. And I know people will be like, well, that ain't fair. You don't know my struggles. That's cool. You don't know my struggles. You don't know I guess you can say I wouldn't even say sexual abuse, but because of the way you grew up, you did things that you wouldn't think is natural from a man from your perspective. I have to deal with that psychologically. I have to deal with people in my family telling me I'm not good enough, right? Now I could use that and say, well, this is why I never aspired to this. Cool. That's your narrative, and that's what you choose to believe in. But I choose to believe that regardless of what happened in this world, the universe is working 100% for me. So I don't look at nothing that's so-called bad. When this man wanted to kill me when I was in high school, a junior, I don't look at him as bad or the situation as bad. I look at it as cause and effect. I did something and these are the consequences. So, God, what are you trying to get me to learn from this? If I live, this is what you want me to learn from it. But if I die, I understand, God, I brought this on myself. You see what I'm saying?
Yes.
People don't like to have that mindset. And people don't like to look at it like this. No matter how much you serve God, there is going to be something that the world may deem bad that happened to you. But even if my life is lost, that ain't bad. Everything that I've done lives on and it goes more viral. You see
Yeah.
what I'm saying? So if it's about being an impact, you got to understand what is your reason and your design, uh your purpose that God give you, and what is your unique talents God give you to do that with,
Hmm.
and how are you going to serve society? And once you figure that out, that's all that matters.
I love this. I love this. It is definitely an evolved way of thinking. And again, it does because like I said, I'm 100% on the same page with you, and I do consistently ask myself the question, how do we bring other people to that level of not even understanding, but you're also hitting on accountability. what's required in order to adopt this type of mindset is the individual is comfortable taking full accountability with their thoughts, their actions, and everything else that they actually put out into the world.
Yeah. So, and what I would say with this is, I read a book called Extreme Ownership,
Okay.
and it was a Navy SEAL basically saying, always hold yourself accountable. So
Mm,
my default is said that if something goes wrong, yo, what did I do wrong? What could I have done better? I don't even focus on the other entity that's involved in it or the other person that's involved in it. It's what could I have done differently? Is there something I could have done differently? And people say, well, when you ask yourself that, what if there's nothing? It's always something you can do differently, even if you so-called win, because winning and losing is illusions. It's not real. And I tell people like this, so-called winning a lot of time is this false reality that you're successful. No, you're not. Because once I write one book and I write another one, people, when is the next book coming out? It's never over. If you once you win your title, and I know, and I see the way you're going at it, brother. Once you win your title, then what? What is it like after the high go down? But when you're just about, nah, man, I'm living on this divine purpose. When I say I'm limitless, that's why I changed my name legally to Limitless. Once I said that, it's like everything I do, I got to be limitless. I want to be in the 1% of everything.
I love it. I love it. It's incredibly, obviously liberating, but then at the same time, I don't know. I feel like we're talking about true masculinity in a way that doesn't really get explored that often in like our current modern age. You know?
I'm with you. Listen, and I say masculine is this, also wisdom.
Hmm.
We got a lot of kids that think if I get into a fight, I shoot somebody, I harm somebody, that's winning, that's smart. It's not. That's ignorance. So I even make jokes how people say, oh, I used to get into fights and you was tough. Yeah, but it was a time in college with this guy named Jonte Leak. I'll never forget the name. I'm joking around with him, and he said, I bet you can't kick my ass, though. And I was like, huh? I'm like, yo, this dude is serious. And I looked at his body structure. I said, he looked like he roll around and grapple. I said, man, you always talking that junk. You probably do mixed martial arts or something, right? This was before all the UFC. And he said, I do jujitsu. I was like, I didn't know what it mean, but I knew, brother, I didn't know what it was. And I was like, well, I could box, but what if he grabbed me? I
Yeah.
said, I said, look, man, I said, let's just enjoy the basketball game, man. We ain't, he said, that's what I thought. I said, this guy's funny. So listen, but you know what I won't gonna do? I won't gonna fight him.
All right. Right.
We
Right.
gotta teach them that it's okay. There is no certain way that you gotta go about being a man.
Hmm.
Who are you? Are you living that truth? Because
Hmm.
even if you walk around acting so-called masculine, what we say in our society, if it's not you, it's fake. But if you are a more aggressive person, but you're taught, I need to be mild and meek because I'm in the church, but that's not you. That's fake. Be you.
Yeah, it's a tough situation because I'm even thinking of I have a friend who he was raised in the hood. I come from upper middle class. My
Yeah.
father was a mayor and stuff like that. I was considered like the Oreo, white on the inside, black on the outside, all that stuff, right? So I have this friend who was like raised the complete opposite, uh, systematic oppression, raised in the hood, was essentially conditioned to believe that his people and his environment were of a lesser ilk than the white people who were like oppressing them. And as he moves through the world, and I've observed it on countless times, the only way that he can defend himself is through direct confrontation. So if
See,
he feels like he's being disrespected by his body, like if someone brushes past him and gives him the wrong look, that's his moment where he has to like kind of stand up for himself because he feels like that's the only opportunity that he does have to actually kind of create that type of respect.
and think about how sad that is. Think about this, right? So the book I'm working on right now is called Leading in the Mixed of Shit. And basically the last one is emotionality. Let's say everywhere I go, somebody bump me. Hey, what's up, man? If you're conditioned to believe that and you keep doing it, well, that's weak to lean into. So anybody know in order to grow, you got to be uncomfortable. So break that conditioning. It's much harder when you're taught all your life, fight back in a physical manner, but sooner or later it's going to end in destruction or death. So if you say, you know what, I'm gonna do something different. I know my initial visceral reaction because of my environment is not because of your black skin or nothing like that. Because of my environment created this. Now, let me fight against that and say, you know what? Man, I wish that person peace. They probably was in a hurry to go see their daughter or something. Whatever you got to create in your mind narrative to allow yourself to feel good. That's what I do, brother.
Well said. Well said. And you're right on the money because this particular person, he's pursuing a career in bodybuilding, and he finds himself in a situation where he has to stick up for himself or his brother at a bar, and then he gets in a fight and ends up fracturing his thumb, and now he's unable to lift for like 2 to 3 months because of a bone fracture, and that's like directly to your point. To his detriment, he's defending his idea of self-respect, and then now suffers the consequence of like he can no longer move forward in the chosen career path that he has set for himself.
And think about this, the art of war, Sun Tzu. Know thyself, know thy enemy, 1,000 battles, 1,000 victories. Know thyself, know thy enemy, 1,000 battles, 1,000 victories. We're our greatest enemy. Let's say I go out here and I'm gonna fight for my dignity. They need to know that I still got it. Let's say I win. Hey, yeah, I beat that guy up. I walk around for 2 weeks, feel good. I'm on the way to go to a movie with my daughter and somebody gunned me down. And my daughter is traumatized for the rest of her life because of something I did 2 weeks prior that she knew nothing about. I lose my life. I can't be there for her no more. I can't stand up for this fake ego that I created no more.
Because it's gone, yeah.
So you won the fight but lost the war. What is more
Yeah.
important?
Yeah.
You see what I'm
Well,
saying?
yeah, I do. And I guess at the end of the day, it really is just a matter of, I don't know, this particular person, I think because we are so close in age, I don't know if I was the perfect person to lead him into a new frame of thinking. And that's why I enjoy conversations like these, because my whole mission beyond the Natty King title, that's really just a vehicle to
Yes.
create motivation and inspiration for like the next generation. My focus is on inspiring future generations to take up arms against their own perception of their limiting selves and
Love
to
it.
pursue a greater version of themselves.
Love it.
Yeah.
Love it. Because you think about this, man. And I could feel your heart. That's why I wanted to reach out to you. I like this dude energy, man. This dude right here. Ooh, I love it. So because the thing is this, I'm 45 years old. We're here for this short window of time. I remember flashes of greatness when I'd be like, man, I played football against Julius Peppers, man. I gave him over 200 yards. And then I think about playing college football, playing arena football. Yeah, this is never going to end. You see your speed decline. You have these surgeries. You come out and now you going to school to become a professor. You're in this whole new field. And now you like, God, I want more. And all these things you thought mattered, they didn't matter. Because every time you accomplish something, whether it's so-called good or bad, you move on and you collect them. So they all become good, which good is anything beneficial for you. You see what I'm saying? So what I realized my walk of life is that I got in my last fist fight at 27. I had a master's degree and I'm out at the club and I'm sitting there in the parking lot like, get my gun, man. And my twin brother grabbed me and was like, what, dude, what are you doing? You got a master's degree. What are you doing? And I'm like, what am I doing? Why am I trying to relive this guy? I'm not a thug. This ain't who I am. I just want to love people. So even if your friend got to stop going to bars or whatever, that sort of, sparks that desire to want to fight, stop doing it.
Hmm.
How bad do you want your life? How bad is it that you want this goal that you set out to the universe?
Well, I think that's another thing, and I think you're touching on to something very important. I believe if we're just using him as a case study, and I think he's a perfect example as to like what other people in his environment are experiencing. I believe that I think people are just kind of making up goals that they don't really believe themselves. I think that they truly see themselves as the programming that the environment has kind of placed them in, and they see this dream as just that, a dream, a
Yes.
fantasy, and they don't fully connect themselves to that fantasy as their reality. And
You know, go, keep going, keep going. Sorry
yeah,
about
and
that.
I was going to say, so whenever you're faced with the reality of the situation, and someone is coming to you like this is your conditioning, this is what you've been experiencing your entire life. Someone comes up to you and like they give you an affront to your character, to your manhood, and they're saying that like, okay, you ain't shit. This is the reality that you've been conditioned to respond
That's
to,
right. That's
and
right.
that's who you know,
That's right. That's right.
and everything
That's
else
right.
is fiction.
That's right. And you think about it, your conditioning is already there. I had to teach myself to get there. But your conditioning is if you tell me ain't shit, cool. Silently, you're gonna put in the work and say, okay, I'm gonna show you that I'm the shit. Whereas anybody that's weak, they say, I gotta show you by fighting you. No, fight yourself. When a person tells you you ain't shit, do a self-reflection and say, is that real? Is it not? If it's real, hey, work. If it ain't, keep working. You know what I mean? But I think another thing that drives you that's different than a lot of people, they throw out these little goals. See, you may be saying you're the Natty King. You're living on purpose, brother. I see the way you move. I see why this is your vehicle. Because your heart is like, nah, I want to use this to reach millions. This will reach hundreds. Then whatever's built off of that may reach hundreds. But God, if I let you guide me and you take me here, I reach millions. So I see your purpose. So I think a lot of times when people see, I had this thing called Road to Pro. And I just thought it was crazy that God introduced me to bodybuilding at 44. And I was like, I'm going to get a pro card in a year. And they said I was crazy. And I was like, nah, I'm going to get it, yo. So that whole goal was to show people, look how God can work in a man that is 44, that is new to this industry, and he was able to come in natural and get a pro card. And what did God do? God aligned all of the right competitors for that show for me to come in with the best package to win. Did I have the best body at a Yorton Cup? No. The bearded one, we saw him like he had the best body. But God said, let me show you how I work. And while I show you how I work, it's going to show the world. So what you're saying is, I'm pursuing the Natty King, but it's something bigger than that. Y'all don't get it.
Yeah.
That's what Dr. Martin Luther King was talking about. The dream that he verbalized to everybody, but they still couldn't see how powerful it was in his mind.
Yes, yes. All right, you're hitting a lot of things. Two thoughts are coming to mind. Okay, so you mentioned Martin Luther King. First of all, I think it's super cool that you got the pro card at the Yorton Cup. And Demain Dawson, he's actually on the Natty King roster. I'm a huge fan of his physique.
Yes.
But the two things that come to mind is, firstly, I am happy to announce that I've successfully started being able to prioritize humility over ego. I feel like humility is the thing that defeats ego. And what I'm noticing is, as I'm starting to put a greater emphasis on leading with humility, I can still use like the same vocabulary, but there's a different tone, there's a different feeling behind
Mm.
the words. And I think that they are connecting more, at least with me.
I'm going to say this. I'm going to tell you
Yeah,
this because
yeah,
I know you believe in something greater.
yeah.
So about 2 weeks ago, God gave me this. It's a difference between knowing and believing.
Mm,
When you know, it's just this feeling.
mm,
When you believe, it's a deep knowing of it got to be something more, but it's still explorative. I tell people, I know that there's a greater power that exists. I believe that Christ died on the cross for my sins. You see what I'm saying? I know that there's something after this. I believe there's a heaven where I will see my loved ones again.
mm-hmm,
It's a difference.
mm-hmm.
So you're walking in this knowing of like, yeah, it's like you feel it and you're like, God, what do you do? What is this? Why do I feel like this? But you
Yeah.
just know. And you don't even really know why it is, but you just know you're chosen.
Well said. Well said. There was also something that my pastor said, I think 2 Sundays ago, that really resonated was the minute that the minute that, the more I know myself, the less I have to prove to others. The more I
Mm.
know myself, the less I have to prove to others. And you mentioned it like pretty perfectly. It was like if a person brushes against me and gives me like, hey bro, like, which never happens because I'm such a happy person. And I just use confrontation so quickly because a person can kind of see like I'm you cannot mess with my vibe. Like it's impossible to mess with my vibe. Like Impossible. But if a person were to try to, it's like it doesn't register as like a thing like, oh, this person's trying to offend me. This person's trying to get under my skin because I don't have a skin, you know?
Think about this. God just gave me this while you was talking. The law of attraction is this. You're burning so hot with love, you could barely feel any cold that goes there. Now, it could be an extreme cold that you like, yo, what is that? But 9 times out of 10, it's not going to be that because you're just burning. You're just giving it out.
Yeah,
So you're giving it out so much. God is like, I got to keep replenishing this guy. He
yeah,
keeps giving out love.
yeah,
So you become what it is that you want. If you want to become unconditional love, that little stuff that happened, they call me the mayor at the gym. Hey, Limitless knows everybody. If I see you doing so, hey, I see I just want to give you love.
yeah, yeah.
Because I was a guy for a long time that gave a lot of anger, didn't want to hug my family, act hard. For what? Losing time out of loving on people. So to go from that extreme to this extreme, you're burning just too hot.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
the law of attraction is the more you give out, the more comes to you. I truly believe that.
Amen. Amen. I very much agree. I would say for like the past 3 years, the amount of negative interactions that I've had with another human being is so like you could probably count on 5 fingers, you know? It's incredible. All right, so the other thing I wanted to ask you is you mentioned Martin Luther King, and you already can understand that I'm a very ambitious person.
Yes.
And when it comes to a thing, if I'm going to do a thing, I want to be like really, really great at that thing. I want to go for gold, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah. We got natural bodybuilding, fantastic. It's a great sport. I'm so happy to have discovered the sport. But I also have very high aspirations of being a great speaker.
Love it.
And we have Martin Luther King as a frame of reference as to one of the great orators of his time. And my vision is kind of bringing the world of sports and athletics over to the world of public speaking slash motivational speaking and bridging that gap together to present a character or a person that is able to kind of promote health and wellness, longevity, and limitless human potential all in the same span of like one big speech. That's what I want to lead it to. This is after the Natty King title. This is after everything. The speech is like, this is probably like a speech that happens 10, 15 years in the future, but we're having this conversation
Yeah,
now,
yeah, 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 yeah,
understanding.
yeah.
Yeah,
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 yeah. Hey, it's fire. Cause
yeah.
look, that's I get paid to be a motivational speaker. So I've spoken in China, Montreal. I'm gonna tell you this, man. And I'm gonna say you have the components that I say are essential. You just got a loving, believable spirit. You speak from your heart, and then you can articulate your words. And you have a vocabulary or library to pull things from. That's all you need to be a great speaker. Because that's what connects. I tell people like this: you may have somebody that's executing all of the words, and you're like, "Yo, that," and then you're like, "But something is just missing." Then you may hear somebody like Jim Rome or Eric Thomas, and they say things where the words may not, but you feel it like, oh, like Inky Johnson. I feel like it's just coming out of you, right? It's kind of like that person going to church, and they be like, "She sung a good song, but that lady sang." It's different. It comes from the soul, you know what I mean? And I realize when people speak from that true place, because most people can't get to that true meaning of who they are, once you get there, it connects. You know what
Amen.
I mean? So
Yes.
I'm looking for, yeah, man. Hey, you're gonna kill it with that, brother.
Thank you. Thank you. One thing that my dad used to say, and I always think about, is, Martin Luther King's famous "I Have a Dream" speech. He used to say, because, he was a mayor and a lawyer, my father, and he used to say that he was giving that speech for years leading up to that moment at the Washington Memorial. So by the time that he actually delivers that speech, he's already been rehearsing it in other formats, in other environments. And now
Same.
when he's giving his "I Have a Dream" speech, the same ideas, the same philosophies, the same ideologies have all been leading to this one moment in time where this is like a historical,
Mm, mm.
sublime speech that, exists for honestly the entirety of, as long as America's here, we will have that speech, right?
Yes.
But he's been giving that speech mentally and verbally throughout his career. The question I want to ask you, as a person who has built a career within this space, where would you recommend for reps? So if I'm a bodybuilder, you compete,
Yeah.
you work on your posing, you train. How would I get reps as a speaker?
All right, I'm gonna say a couple of things. Les Brown said, I used to speak to the flowers when
Okay.
nobody would listen to me.
Okay.
So I think going in the mirror, talking to yourself, walking around talking, but speaking from your heart as you're talking, and realize the greatest speech you'll ever give is the speech you give to yourself.
Mm,
Every message that I put out is normally something I'm dealing with. So
okay.
I'm putting it out and speaking to that pain and giving some wisdom to it because I'm trying to heal myself. So normally when it's coming from that real raw place, it's going to hit them. So that's the first thing. The second thing is I would go to Toastmasters International. I truly believe in it. So, and basically what they do is you get a booklet to where you do an informal speech, a persuasive speech, etc. And then while you're at the meetings, they may give you a table topics. They say, so what political party do you affiliate with? Republican, cool. All right, you're going to speak about all of the positive things that Democrats do for the next 2 minutes. So they put you in these situations, and while you're speaking, they're checking for your idiosyncrasies to how many arms, likes this, and they be like, or one thing that I used to say all the time is, you know what I mean? And they're like, no, I don't know what you mean. So they're reminding me of my idiosyncrasies. So
Yeah.
that's good. Anytime somebody asks you to speak, go and speak, even if it's for free,
Yeah. Yeah.
because you're getting reps in that situation. If
Mm-hmm.
you have a master's and you have the bug for teaching, teach classes.
Okay.
Because every class I teach as a professor, I'm trying new material.
Got it.
So
Got
I
it.
look at my classroom as those nightclubs that Dave Chappelle and all of those comedians go to before they get on a big stage. So all of the material that people see me in when I'm speaking on a big stage, I have already practiced it. You see what I'm saying? And
Exactly.
and then and then I think what's important is what you just said too, how Dr. Martin Luther King said, the speech of your life. I believe in being limitless. Check your life, be limitless is the mantra that I live by. So it's one of those things that I live it every day. So it's easy for me to get to that wheelhouse and pull
Right.
out information. You see
Right.
what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
those are the things that I would recommend.
Okay, okay, I love it. I love it, and I'm seeing very similar trajectories. Unfortunately, I don't have a master's, so I'll keep that in mind. Funny, Toastmasters is actually on my list of things to tackle this month, so I will definitely be looking into that. Okay, okay. How's the bodybuilding career going?
It's good, man. Right now I'm bulking, so it's like
Nice.
I got a little bit of abs still left in the morning. So I'm like, I need to start cutting down now. So I got up to like 190, man, and for my height, that's good. I'm throwing some serious weight around in the
I
gym,
love that.
but now I'm just trying to make sure that I cut slow so I can hold on to as much power as I can before I have to really start thinning out.
How did you find it? How did you find natural bodybuilding?
So it was a guy in the gym, a guy named James Ward, was into natural bodybuilding, and he saw me in the gym in 2023. He said, "Next year, man, I want you to come do this show for over 40. You're guaranteed to win." And I like, all right. I didn't hear nothing from him the whole year. So in May, I go on a cruise with my brothers. I'm chilling, doing what I do. Soon as I get off the cruise, hey, that show is gonna be in July. I'm like, man, I'm not in no shape. So I did the show though. It was in Louisville, July 2024, and I didn't like the way I looked on stage, even though I won. And I was like, nah. And people, people on Facebook, oh, nice man, whatever. But I'm like, it got to be one of them haters. Like, man, look at his side. He know he ain't cut. So, and I was like, it just was driving me. I got to do it again. So I ended up doing 4 shows that year. And at the end of that 2024, I was like, yo, God was like, yo, you're gonna win this year. You getting close. And it was like, you're going to win in Knoxville. So Knoxville came around OCB in May, and I lost. And I'm like, God, what's up? Another show came up September 13th, and I had a competitor number as 13. It was my seventh show. And I going into that whole show, I'm in Knoxville. I'm like, I know I'm going to win it. I go into that show. I got 2 opportunities, 40 plus or win the whole show.
Mm-hmm.
So I go in 40 plus. I kill it, bro. I go backstage. My boy's like, yo, I recorded it. You got it. We go out. This is the first time under my legal name change. They said, number 2, number 13, Limitless Williams. Bro, everything is like gone out of me, man.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, they put the medal over me. I'm like, in my mind, like, God, why have you forsaken me? So, and I go back and I go to the locker room, and this dude said, Limitless, Limitless. You remember what you told me before the show? You said if God said it's for you, and you said it's for you still got to open, brother. Keep your head up. And I was like, bet. And I had a little bit of faith, brother, that faith of a mustard seed. I like, he's right. I go out, win my open division. I won it, open A. He won open B, the guy that won 40 plus. So I'm like, I got to beat this. He just beat me, right? So we go out and everything says just focus on the judges. And I'm just hitting poses, brother. And in my mind, I'm like, he got a posing coach. I had no posing coach. I'm doing all this by myself. And I'm like, God, you said you wanted me to get pro card just by me doing it. Man, I go out there looking at the judge, posing, posing. They said, crowd, who y'all got? They going off. And I hear limitless, limitless, limitless. And they said, the winner is competitive number 13, limitless. And I just fall, brother. And they got a picture of me just like this. I just, and
Wow.
what God showed me at the end of that show was, if I said it's for you, it's for you. But you wanted it the easy way. And
Mm.
I gave it to you the hard way, and you end up winning the whole show. My way is always better.
Mm. Preach. Preach. Man. Honestly, that's been a huge thing for me. That's so. All right, a little bit of a testimony. I stopped smoking weed in September. Yeah, yeah, and it's been just a huge wake up call. Just being sober. I didn't even think that I was addicted or anything like. I didn't. I don't think I was addicted, but to
Yeah.
be sober for 4 months and my mind has really expanded in a lot of ways I
Congratulations.
wasn't. Thank you, thank you. And the one big out of many, the one big realization that I arrived at was up into my sobriety, I did have this unyielding desire for all success to come easy. I just wanted everything to be easy. I've been in LA for 11 years and I arrived and I was like, okay, where's my contract? Where's my agent? Where are my opportunities? I don't have to do anything for this because I'm that talented.
Yeah. Yeah.
Only to
Yeah.
fast forward at age 34 and I'm like right now I'm coming to the understanding that the future ahead requires a tremendous amount of effort and it couldn't be
Yes.
any other way, which is a thing that
Yes.
like it's completely a new thought to me.
You think about it though, like 34. I had my transition into academia at 32. I became tenured at 36. No, no, at 40. I became tenured at 40. And that whole time frame, I'm like, and God is like, I got something else for you. And then I'm like, what you got for me? I go into leadership. I hate it. And I'm like, and God is like, I want you to do your own thing. But I need you to go through all of these things because you teach people how to use conflict. So you needed to learn conflict at a self level, how you hurt yourself, but how you inflicted pain on your family, how your family inflicted pain on you, how the job betrayed you. All of these areas, you got to feel it because people got to know you're real.
Mm,
So all of those things you went through, God said, I'm going to show you humility, but I'm also going to show you patience and why it's more important to wait. Because God said, I'm going to give you something so great that you're like, if I would have got this at 24, I wouldn't appreciate it.
yeah,
And I wouldn't have been able to sustain it.
yeah,
That's why I say God's timing is the right timing.
yeah,
You know what I mean?
yeah,
Once you allow God to lead and guide your life, it's like you just stepping back saying, all right, woo. Man, hey, you think you sure you're gonna make that? And it's just, the car just
yeah, yeah.
because you just let go and let God.
I will say it's actually I would love to get your perspective on this because I I try not to beat myself up too much, but when I consider the past 20 years between 14 to 34, life has been so effortless, intentionally and unintentionally, but more so intentionally. You know, like
Yeah, 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 yeah.
girls, weed, entertainment. You know, like that was really it, and I was getting my sustenance off of that. The whole time, I had unyielding belief that like I'm that guy. The entire time, there's no opportunities knocking at my door, but like,
Oh, they're coming. They're coming.
and
Hey,
like
listen, I've been there. I get
yeah,
it. I
and I
get it.
was never confused about that. I was never confused about that. So then. go sober, and we're 4 months sober, and like I said, I beat myself up a little because I have this awareness, like, man, I could have been preparing, I could have been studying, I could have been reading, I could have been doing research, I could have been doing all these different things for the past 20 years that would have better prepared me for the next 20, where I am taking on the role of a leader and a pioneer in the sport of bodybuilding in the realm of the entertainment and sports industry. So it's like, I guess that's a testimony in a sense, because it's like, don't waste your potential
But
on.
think about this. I wanna caution you though. I don't necessarily believe you're wasting your potential. Think about this. If somebody would have told us 10 years ago, invest all of your money into Zoom, we'd have made millions. See how much changed from 2016 to 2020 because of COVID?
Hmm.
See how much 2020 was to 2021 or 2022. You believe in something greater. God
Yes.
don't need a lot of time. God just needs your mind. I just saw this earlier, right? Tupac only was really active for 5 years as a rapper and all of this. And he went to prison for 14 months within that time span. He wrote over 500 songs, 200 songs in 1996 alone, 7 movies, 9 platinum albums, and he was only 25.
Yeah. Yeah.
It made me look at myself like, I thought I did a lot. I need to get busy. You see what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Yeah.
So it's like, I think we look at time is not a real thing. It's what do you do with the moments that you get right in front of you? Because when we started this at 6:30, that's gone, brother. People be like, it just happened. It's gone. With every present moment you have, when you make the most out of it, that's when you become limitless. And that's why I say time doesn't matter. You could become a millionaire in 2 months. If you said every single day, all I'm gonna think about is millions, 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 and you going out doing it. Now, would bodybuilding suffer? Yes. Would your personality suffer? Yes. Your interactions? Yes. Because you're solely focused on it. Well, most people want things, but they're not really lasered in. I knew I was gonna get my pro card at that show. I was lasered in. I had videos that said road to pro, road to pro. And then I'm like, man, these people, what if I don't get it? No, I'm gonna get it. Road to pro, road to pro. But I was laser focused, posing every day, doing vacuums, like my mind was just, I visualized myself. That's the power of us. Because all we are thoughts that generate this power in the universe. And then the universe say, you know what? They're putting a lot of energy out there. Let me give it to them. So that's all we are. But we get so caught up with this human construct
Mm.
of the way that we're supposed to be. But
Mm.
what do humans know about other humans? They're finite. Our energy comes from something that's infinite and that's external. So I don't care about what another finite individual believe about me. It's like, come on, man. You're gonna die just like me. We all ghosts, just wearing costumes. Yours might last longer, mine might dissolve sooner than yours. But at the end of the day, do I really care what another costume think about me? No. We all clowns, keeping it real.
Well said.
And we talk so serious. And think about it. When you go to the movie, when the Joker said, "Why so serious?" But we all walk because we all like, Rick, come on, man.
I get it, man. I get it. That's a perfect analogy, and I'll ask you the question, and based off of that, all right. So when I first started this whole bodybuilding journey, the goal was to have natural bodybuilding eclipse the enhanced side of the sport. Because like right now, all the money and all the attention and all the hype is built in the enhanced side, so far as Miss
Absolutely.
Olympia is concerned. So I'll leave this for open ended. Do you think that there's a future where natural bodybuilding can be a bigger deal than the enhanced side?
You know why I do? Because of individuals like me and you. I feel like you're gonna have more people with big personalities on our natural side. And we could talk about how chemicals could impact, but I think a lot of that is like you're chasing this illusion of something that's not real to a degree. They work hard. I'm never gonna say they don't work hard, but we know putting it creates bodies that are not they're just not realistic. So you're creating this unrealistic body, but you're asking them to be real people. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But the more you chase after something in a very natural way, it allow you to go more deeper into yourself to figure out who is the real individual. So those personalities are what win over. Because when you think about sports, you got to have the right personality. Michael Jordan came along at the right time with the right personality. Deion Sanders, personality. Personality is what sells. So if you have big personalities in our sport and you bringing them over and we're downplaying, yeah, look at these big guys. But I could go in the gym and be stronger than some of them. And you joke around, right? So you show the benefits of being natural. And you can still build relationships with them and we respect them, but they also see, yo, this is hard work. My body ache different than my friend that might be taking a dose that, eliminates the inflammation. You see what
Right.
I'm saying?
Right.
So we
Right.
can talk. So the more that I think we could bridge our worlds and not fight against like politicians, I think both sports can grow because we can be able to show the value in both of them. So I think both can grow at the same time, but I think it takes personalities to really
Okay.
sell any product.
Okay. Okay. And I like that. And I know that IFBB, they're making steps to promote natural bodybuilding in a bigger way. I feel like the thing that blew up bodybuilding just in general was pumping iron. And
Absolutely.
I think we're overdue for a spiritual successor to that, you know?
Yes.
And I think if we can keep that in the natural realm and maybe have some cameos of the enhanced side, then
Yes.
yeah.
Yes. And I think to me, like, those are the things that went over though. I
Mm,
think about how when I do TV shows or act, you're always trying to find what is the right angle that's going to appeal to all of the market. And people appeal to the nice guy, the funny guy, the protagonist, the antagonist. So how do we build these characters to where they're seeing a story, but they're still watching inspiration? To me, I think that's the magic behind a lot of that.
yeah, yeah, and you're definitely touching on the formula. And I personally, I still feel like I'm figuring it out. The idea is for it to be a docu series as opposed
Like
to
it.
a documentary film. But however it shapes up, like it's got to be something that's like it's a docudrama in the same way that Pumping Iron was, where
Yeah,
they
yeah, yeah,
focus
yeah.
on characters very similar to like what you just said. We're all
Yes,
clowns,
yeah.
so it's like we're focusing on the characters who are living out a story leading to a conclusion.
Yep.
You
Yep.
know?
Powerful, bro.
Yeah.
That'd be powerful. And look, when I saw you doing it, I was like, yo, this is dope, man. Love the creativity. Because you got to give people different things, man. And I think the world is going to be starving for something that's funny, something that's positive. Because we've been feeding it with too much darkness. And history merely repeats itself.
Let
So
me
I think
ask
we're
you.
looking for a new cycle.
Let me ask you this question, and I'm 100% on the same page with you. I'm always thinking about my weaknesses. So by now we've been talking for like an hour now, and I have this awareness of like I'm not like the funniest, never have been the funniest or like the wittiest person. Even in my like background of performance and theater and filmmaking, I was part of a comedy troupe in high school, and we were like local celebrities and stuff like that. But whenever we did like a film skit, I was the straight man. I was the guy who was like
Yeah, yeah,
playing.
yeah. Yeah.
So I understand comedic timing. I
Yeah,
just
yeah,
don't
yeah.
know how to be funny. And I think you make a really great point where it's like if we were to reference like Arnold Schwarzenegger and he was like the star of Pumping Iron, that's a funny guy.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
know?
yeah, 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 yeah.
So as a speaker and as a person who completely understands what the vision is, I'm even thinking like, should I start doing like some stand up comedy, like some open mic routines, or do I need to work on my comedic timing?
I think you want to, all right, so think about what funny really is.
Okay.
Cat Williams come off as funny because he seemed like he'd be at a family reunion and he's just funny.
Yeah.
Kevin Hart came off like that. Bernie Mac.
Hmm.
But a lot of comedians that's actually trying, we're looking at them to try to be funny.
Hmm.
So I think just by being yourself is funny. And you got to look at it like this. Just because you think something is not funny to one market, it can be funny to this whole other market. I love, listening to Steve Harvey, where my brother don't think he's funny at all. I may like Chris Rock. He may not. So but normally when a person is not trying to be funny and it's just themselves, and you see the little quirkiness in it, that's funny.
Okay. So we're
You know what
talking
I
about
mean?
quirkiness.
Yeah. So even if you ain't like head over heels laughing, but you like constantly like got that little like, "Dang, this shit," that's to me, that's powerful. I don't need nobody with these big diehard, oh, the speeches. I
Yeah.
want people to be there like, "Dang, oh shit, yeah." I want you in there. You see what I'm
Yeah.
saying? I feel
So,
like one is more sustained and one is big. I want to
right.
sustain the energy.
Got
I don't
it.
want big energy and then it dies and big energy then dies.
So what I'm hearing is kind of like likability, where
Yeah,
there's like a charm and
yeah, yeah, yeah.
okay, that's something I can work on. And would you, as a speaker in this world, would you say that it would be getting reps at, like, let's say like a open mic stand up comedy? Like, let's say I went
It's good. Hey,
once a
that's
month.
tough, brother. I would do it because, for one, you have this thing in improv. I would do improv too.
Okay.
Improv is yes and.
Okay.
So regardless what a person say, you have to either yes it or and it and add on to it. So it never ends.
Hmm.
So when I'm giving a speech, sometimes it may be some people, yeah, 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 I heard that. Oh, you 12 years old. Yeah, 12 years old, man. What you know about 12 years old? What were you doing at 12? So now I start playing to the crowd. But what if a person is emotionally invested, they may get agitated. And as soon as the crowd say something, the crowd got them. No, 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 no. When you're a master of your craft, a master of who you are, you're always in control,
Okay.
even when they think they're in control. So I let the audience get rowdy sometimes. I remember I gave a speech in Durham, and the audience was like, ooh, boo, making all of this stuff. And I was like, dang. I said, it's amazing. They would pay me $10,000 to come in and get this speech, and my own people don't give me love. I said, how old are you? 15. How old are you? 17. Yeah, you know what I was doing at 17? I had 2 kids, and I was running for my life because a man was trying to kill me. Now they get quiet. So you got to learn and understand your audience and how to play with it and how to say every energy that's thrown out to you is thrown out to you for a reason because the world needs you to use it.
Mm,
But what we do is we resist it. And when you think about it, the way Taoism is, you never resist, you always flow with.
mm,
If you resist in the water while you're swimming, you're going to drown. If you're constantly resisting in a fight and you're scared to throw back, you're going to get beat. But once you flow with it, you're able to see the angles. How do I need to, succeed in this type of situation? So it's all about being calm in the storm. But that's everything that Jesus wanted us to do. How do you find the calmness in the storm? The calmness is already inside us. You see what I'm saying? So
mhm.
that's what you gotta, when you're doing this film, if God gave it to you, you gotta know everything it is that God is asking me to do. That's what I'm supposed to do and not question it. Because that's exactly the way God wanted to play out in the film. But if you think too much in your mind, what I know perfection need to be like, how do you know? You don't know what film God want. You're just a vessel. So do your job and let God do the job. Follow the vision and don't question it. You see what I'm saying?
Yes, that's. I needed to hear that. I needed to hear that because yeah, no, 100%. All right, let me hit you with another one before I actually have to hop off and get this back day.
Yeah,
Um,
hey, you gotta get it, brother. But go ahead, go ahead.
all right, okay. So the question is, what is your stance between, like, I love, for one, I love Bruce Lee, and you just
Yes,
wrestled Bruce
yeah.
Lee up and down, and I'd never thought of the idea of like taking the philosophy of Bruce Lee and putting it into public speaking, which I think is super cool. Um, I have thoughts or questions about preparability, like how preparedness to responding in the moment. So, like, let's say you're giving a speech tomorrow on whatever the topic is. You're going to a school, right?
hmm
How prepared are you, and how are, like if you had to put like a pie chart of script, every word I know what I'm going to say at every moment, to interaction and crowd work.
So I would say I always have a go-to outline, right? You all and any good speaker would say you got to have a signature speech. My signature speech is check your life, be limitless. And I use this acronym called back to learn. Be in a moment, attitude adjustment, check your life, and then keep lofty goals. And then the TO is 10 days. Anything you'll do at 10 days, lean more into it. And then the learn is love your authentic self, embrace other people's perspectives, ask the why behind everything you do, raise your personal bar daily, no excuses. So I can use any parts of those to formulate it around a speech. That's the only part that I tend to memorize. I may look at an audience and say this story may works a little bit more with this audience, or this anecdote may work better with this audience. But I never truly have, unless they say we need you to come in for 15 minutes. Only thing I'd adhere to is the timeline to make sure that I kill it within that window. Now, there may be some audiences that say that, hey, we want you to bring in a speech. I give them a shell of my speech, but some of it I leave open and blank. And then I just say, what are the things you want to make sure I don't talk about? I won't address those, but this is, and I give them that, but I don't like to have it too rehearsed. And
Okay.
I don't think it takes away from anybody because Obama was a great speaker and he had a lot of his that was rehearsed. So I just think you got to understand what is your flow, what is your style. I feel like whatever that is real that God give you, you gotta listen to it because some people may be better writers, and I can use it with rap. Tupac is a great writer. Jay-Z is great with just speaking it, or Lil Wayne. So that's what they're great at. They can't go to try to write it because that takes away from their gift. But the same way that Tupac had to write it down on a pad, he's trusting in God to pour in his mind. The way that a person don't write it down, they're trusting God to pour in their mind.
I
So
see.
you got to listen to whatever way that God give you to speak.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. So just trust more.
Yes, that's all it is. Everything is trust. Think about it, right? So I did a video yesterday and I was talking about how people say, I don't trust nobody. I do this. You trust somebody. I don't eat out. Yes, well, you don't eat out. You trust the product, the people that package the products. When you get in a plane, you are trusting people to fly this plane without any substance, or when you're driving your car, you're trusting other drivers on the road. You trust people. So if you know you have to trust one person, why don't you just have blind trust? Because you get a beautiful life that way. If somebody is so-called trying to hurt me, okay, cool. I'm enjoying life. You see what I'm saying? Like, but
Yeah.
you lose when it's like, all right, I gotta always be paranoid. I got
Yeah.
this.
Yeah.
Are they gonna try
Yeah.
to get me? Man,
Yeah.
no. I'd rather be the fool that die. Either way, I'm gonna die. Whether I'm a fool or whether I'm a person that's not foolish, I'm gonna die. It doesn't matter. But
Yeah.
I get to live in a positive light, and I get to enjoy my peace without worrying about what somebody's doing to me. I would take that any day than worry. I'm just not. Even when God say, "Why worry?"
Yeah. No, you're preaching to the choir. And, your experiences, like, you would be able to talk to my friend and provide this perspective because you have similar backgrounds. But I've tried to dispel that disposition to him, and it's just like, you don't know shit. You grew up in a
Yeah.
mayor's house and crap like that. But I
You know
100.
what I think would be good though? Think about this. I think it'd be a good podcast for you to have. What is black?
Mm,
My son relate more to you. My daughter relates more to you. My wife relates more to me and your friend. So if you had a variety of people and we
mm,
talk about the struggles, we
mm.
talk about the rhetoric or the way that we speak in our community, and why do we diminish when somebody speaks proper in a poor community, and why do we diminish somebody that speaks broken English in a wealthy community?
I
Why do
love
we
it.
do that? Like,
Yeah.
where does this come from? So
Yeah.
then we're starting to attack ideologies and
Yes.
understand that, yo, we got our own struggles. The struggles that my daughter have with making friends in a predominantly white school, it's the same way that I had to come in and be this fake character of being a thug to make friends in this so-called public school that was tough. So it's like different. We all have our struggles. You see what I'm
Yeah.
saying? And we could all make it our hell or use excuses to why we are what we are, because those are the only environments we know. But once we break down the walls and show that every environment is tough, because if I grew up in a wealthy family and my parents never loved me or never talked to me, man, it's no telling how angry I would have grew up to be. But I would have been that kid that came from a wealthy community that's selling drugs, murdering people, but I never received love. So I even look at them people and say, man, I feel sorry for that because I was able to get that even in my poor environment.
Mm, mm. I love that idea. I love that idea. And it's like bringing in different social economic classes together. That would be
Yes,
really cool.
yes. And
Yeah.
then the show, because like, I tell people when I started making money and I got a PhD and I'm in this, I'm in this fine dining setting and I'm sitting there. I didn't even know how to set the table. I didn't know where my bread was, and so they had to teach me that this is your this is your bread, this is your drink. So I'm like, oh. So I'm doing all of this stuff, and then I'm about to eat, and the guy hit me and was like, no. So we had to wait till everybody get the food, and he was like, bon appetit. Or they was like, what wine do you want? And I'm like, man, I ain't never had no. I was like, they got Mad Dog too. Like, you know what I'm saying? I'm like, Boone's Farm. I'm like, I don't know what wine. And then my friend was like, nah, nah, nah. Do you want red or white? I'm like, what is the difference? So he's giving me this quick lesson. And I'm like, so what you gonna have? He said red. I said, yeah, I take red. So what kind, sir? I said, what are you drinking? He's like, Merlot. I said, Merlot. What? But I didn't know. So this world was new to me.
Yeah.
But now that I've been in this world so long, the old world is like going back looking at the projects like, ugh. Like it's certain places I can't stay in. So now I become bougie.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
I have privileges now. You see what I'm saying? So how can a person go from living in a roach infested room to now I got to stay at certain places? So I think all of those things are important to show how your paradigm can shift. You know what I'm saying?
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Whew. I love talking to people like you, man.
No, hey, look, the feeling is mutual, brother. I enjoy this, man.
Peace.
Definitely, brother.
Peace. Well, listen, the connection is solidified. Honestly, it's a long career from here, and I would love to keep in touch.
Absolutely.
I mean, you're doing a lot of the things that I want to be doing. Like you're a pro level bodybuilder who is doing motivational speaking around the world.
Hmm.
So I'm looking at you as like, okay, what do I have to do to reverse engineer that?
Anything I can do to help, man. Look, I tell people like this. I'm the old unk in the game now. You know what I mean? In the next 10 years, you're gonna still be young at 45. I'm gonna be 55. And you see, every 10 years, and look, you're gonna start talking, you're gonna be like, hey, I had this guy 30 years ago. I'll be like, yeah, youngster, you know.
No, and then I'll be
So
having, then I'll be sitting where you're at, and then I'll be talking to the next guy.
yes, yes. You see, and then to me, to give back is you create this wise chamber for these young individuals that
Yes,
want it to
yes,
come under, and
yes,
we pour into them, man.
yes,
Because now it's about how can I make sure somebody else is inspired and don't do the same dumb things I do.
yeah,
Waste
yeah,
your energy chasing women, getting
yeah,
involved in drugs and all of this pointless stuff. Like, come on, man, you got more to live for.
yeah.
So if I can play my part in that, man, that's all I care about.
Well, I'm 100% on board, brother. This was awesome. This was awesome. Let's do this again sometime.
Yes, sir. Thank you, my brother.
Thank you. Thank you. All right, I'm going to wish you a great Wednesday, and I will talk to you soon. We'll keep in touch.
All right, be blessed, man. Be limitless.
All right.
Yep.
You as well. You as well.